Roger, go for deploy.
Hey guys, welcome to Adventure Fit Radio. Hopefully you guys listened up to our first episode, which was Ed Morrison from CrossFit HQ. That was a really interesting discussion about the good and the bad side of CrossFit. Ed was fighting and flying the flag for CrossFit HQ, while the rest of us guys were going back and forth with some questions that we've wanted to ask and some stuff that we've wanted to find out from the man himself. So really good discussions. Hopefully you guys liked that one and tuned in. This week, what we have for you, we have Deanna Blegg. Deanna is an amazing woman. Let me tell you a little bit about Deanna. Deanna started her athletic career as a triathlete, at which point she built herself up and was able to represent Australia in the Commonwealth Games in 1990. An amazing effort. Around 2.5 years later, Deanna was traveling through Africa. She was backpacking all around the world, and she found out the news that she had become HIV positive. So Deanna went on from there to be a real advocate for a healthy life with HIV. She's built herself a family. She's happily married. She really is an amazing woman. Since then, years and years later, so now Deanna is an adventure racer and an obstacle racer, and she's really achieved some amazing things in that time. Deanna, in 2014, most recently, came second in the open division of the Spartan Race World Championships. Second fittest woman in the world in the Spartan Race World Championships. She also, the year before that, was the winner of the world's toughest mudder. All those crazy adventure races and obstacle races, whatever you call them. If you're an obstacle racer, you know more than me. It's not something that I actually partake in. But she's the best in the world. She was the world's toughest mudder winner from 2013. Basically, we want to sit down, we did sit down with Deanna and we picked her brain about her early life, her battles with HIV, and her athletic life since then, where she's really at the top of the heap worldwide in her chosen sport. So this is a great episode, guys. Deanna's a really inspirational chick, and I hope you guys get a lot out of it. So before we move on to our podcast, though, we got to thank our sponsors. Firstly, our sponsor, Atlanta Orchards, has sponsored us. Atlanta have new varieties of apples, Kanzi and Green Star, which have been trialled in Australia for years, but are now just in commercial production. Both are born and bred in Belgium and now growing across the country, including Victoria, including at Atlanta Orchards. Green Stars are the first 100% non-browning apples, a cross between a Granny Smith and a Delberestival apple. I think I went better with that one this week. The apples are green, sweet, juicy, and have a thin skin and the highest vitamin C content of any apple, which helps them keep naturally white for days after cutting. Hoo-wee! The Kanzi apple is the number one apple sold in Europe and is bright red and crunchy with a long shelf life, a cross between a Gala and a Braeburn apple. So, for all your tasty apple needs, check out your local greengrocer if you're in Victoria, Australia, and ask for Atlanta, Kanzi, and Green Star apples. Next, our sponsor, Loxam Solutions. Loxam is a boutique consulting and business support company focused on business consulting and commercial services. The key to their success has been through an application of pragmatic approaches combined with entrepreneurial spirit to achieve their clients' outcomes. Their philosophy is simple, guys. Deliver well-defined, measurable business outcomes to their clients through the engagement of consulting with subject matter experts with real-world experience. Services include costings, business structures, business consulting, business startup advice, business plan development, review and adaptation, organizational review and restructure, operational review and restructure, governance, corporate and operational, coaching and mentoring, project management, financial management, all of the above. Anything business-wise you need, you want to go to www.loxamsolutions.com.au. And we are also sponsored by NDO Sups, No Days Off Supplements. No Days Off Supplements is a newly formed company that aspires to build a trusted brand with honesty, integrity, and loyalty at the cornerstones of their relationship with all parties involved. From suppliers to customers to their sponsored athletes and individuals, they will work hard to ensure all receive the utmost attention and support, and that harmonious relationship is mutually beneficial and all outcomes are achieved. The company was formed with a vision of offering great products and sound information that will benefit its customers and the community at large. No days off supplements for all your supplement needs. If you guys want to use NDO Sups, make sure you quote ADVF Radio when you purchase and when you put your order through, and you'll receive 10% off. 10% off with NDO Sups. And last but not least, we are always, every week, sponsored by Adventure Fit Travel, the mother company of this beautiful podcast we call Adventure Fit Radio. Adventure Fit Travel, the one thing I want to plug with Adventure Fit Travel is our Bali trip. Our Bali trip is going to be extended for a week. Sales are still running till Friday the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 12th of March. So get in quick, guys. If you guys want to train with Dmitry Klokov, world champion Russian weightlifter, if you guys want to work out all the way through Bali and the Gili Islands, we're whitewater rafting, we're going to snorkel with sea turtles, we've got an Indonesian cooking class, we're surfing, we're doing yoga every morning, it's going to be great. So, you guys want to get in, email info@adventurefittravel.com, check out our website www.adventurefittravel.com, or hit us up on any of our social channels. It's going to be a great trip, guys. You want to get involved. So, that's it from our sponsors. I will leave it there and introduce you to the wonderful Deanna Blegg.
So this is a little intro. It's called Tommy's Tribute. It's a new segment that we're doing. We'll see how we go with this. I practiced it like 3 times. So here we go. It's a cover of Plush by Stone Temple Pilots. Deanna, it rhymes so well with a banana. She likes to train at the DV. She told me that when she travels, she feels free. Well, I agree. And I'm jealous. I'm jealous that she's represented at the Com Games. And I can't even spell the word games. And I feel that life's touch and go for me when I'm sitting next to Deanna B. There we go.
Yeah! Tommy's Tribute.
Welcome.
Well played, sir.
I wasn't expecting that.
Well played. All right, guys, so welcome to Adventure Fit Radio. We're sitting here. That was Tommy's let us off with Tommy's Tribute for the day, which is great. I've got Mac on my right, and I've got Deanna Blegg, who's an adventure racer, a mother. She's a strong-willed woman who lives with HIV, and we're here to sit down and have a chat. Welcome to Adventure Fit Radio.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Cool. So, firstly, why don't you tell us about yourself, Deanna, what you do, a little bit about your family, and a little bit about your background.
It's a lot of questions in one.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say that many times. Let's be honest.
All right, so where do I start? A bit about myself. Currently, I'm a mother of 2 and don't plan to have any more. Daughter that's 17, a son that's 12.
Is that why you don't plan to have any more?
Yeah, exactly right.
The period they're in?
That's a big enough gap. And just had an amazing life full of huge adventures. I've always sort of lived on a bit on the wild side, more so before children than post children. Got to experience a lot of the world, and I still get to travel a lot and still experiencing so much.
Cool. So I wanted to get you down here. Obviously, you train at Max Gym, and we know you're into your adventure racing, and there's a lot of other stuff that we thought you'd be a good guest to talk to about. But you represented Australia in the Commonwealth Games. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that until today.
Okay.
Tell us about that.
So as a junior athlete, I originally, I guess, started sport because I had asthma, and at that time they suggested swimming was good for asthma. So I started swimming and did quite well at that, and then it was back in the day when triathlons were just sort of beginning. So first the aquathon came along, which was swimming and running, so I did them, and then triathlons came, and I didn't even own a bike at that time. And desperately wanted to do it, so I asked my mum for a bike, and they, I think, scrounged up $100.
Nice.
Yeah.
One gear.
One wheel.
I had three, had 3 gears, and I did my first triathlon at age 14, and won it. Won the open section, and it was still very, very new then, so there wasn't a lot of women competitors. And it just went from there. I just loved, whilst not being specifically good at one individual sport, I'm kind of good at lots of different sports, so triathlon sort of suited me at the time because I could be good at swimming, good at running, and good at cycling without necessarily excelling at any, and excel at once. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I did. I did triathlons. I did it for fun. I never had a goal to make it to the Commonwealth Games or the Olympics. It was never on my agenda.
Is the triathlon still in the Commonwealth Games?
Oh, yeah. It's still.
I actually didn't know it was a Commonwealth Games event.
Yeah, the one I did was the first year.
Really?
What year was that?
1990, long time ago.
And how old were you then?
20.
So 14. So it took you 6 years to get your Comm Games.
Yeah,
That's pretty solid. That's a good effort. So representing Australia, was that something that kind of, once you started your triathlons that you wanted to do, or it was something that kind of came out of nowhere and you thought, wow, I can give this a real shot? And
yeah, look, it was never on my list of things to do. I just sort of, I guess, stumbled into it. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have any sort of background. I just fudged everything really and ended up there.
Not a bad athlete.
Yeah.
However,
I fudge everything and end up nowhere.
We know you did.
Fuck. But it was great fun to be a part of. But for me, it became a little bit political and a lot of pressure, and I wasn't ready for it. Like I was just a kid having fun, and I didn't know how to cope with the pressure of it, the expectations, the politics, and all that sort of stuff behind it. And it actually put me off, and I just thought, I don't want to be a part of this.
What type of politics are there in triathlons?
Just it's I guess a tall poppy syndrome sort of thing. So, these are just a few examples. I was racing once, and they just introduced the laws with the helmets, and it had to be you had to rack your bike and then take your helmet off or unclip your helmet. And I unclipped my helmet and racked my bike, and completely disqualified in an event. And I don't like there was thousands of people in the event, but just that tall poppy, she's winning. Let's sort of chop her off, sort of stuff. So, and. Yeah, there was quite a few. There was another race that I did a little bit later, and at that time I hadn't registered with the Victorian Triathlon Association. I did the race. I did it in the pro category. I won it, and then because I wasn't registered Victoria I wasn't even mentioned. Like there was
really,
it's like I wasn't even there. So I just I'm in it for fun. I'm in it to be a part of a fun sort of sport, and it
just didn't end up being fun in the end.
Well,
if you can start at 14, represent your country at 20, and then say, see you later, you've done pretty well, I think.
Yeah. So you were done after the Comm Games?
I was in the World Championships a couple of times, but I think it was around that age of 20 that I just sort of had enough and just went my own way.
What did you take on after that?
So that's when mountain bikes were starting to be built without the suspension. So I got myself a mountain bike. I did whitewater rafting, whitewater kayaking. Trekking and just a bit more adventure stuff where you could still be fit, get out in the bush, have fun, and without that pressure of people telling you what you can and can't do. You just go and live in the wild. And that was awesome. Much more fun. Yeah, I loved it.
So after you represented Australia, so you started travelling. You told us earlier that you kind of took off and did a fair bit. Was this one trip that you just took off and said goodbye and stayed abroad for a while, or was it a few little trips? Or
yeah, so I don't like commitments and deadlines, and so I bought a one-way ticket.
Let's be friends.
Yeah. Is that why the three of us are single? I'm just a loser.
Small dick as well.
Jeez, episode 2 and we already know. That's killed me.
All right, enough about that. Yeah, so you took off. Where did you head first?
So when I was whitewater raft guiding, I heard of this expedition that they were heading to India in the Indian Himalayas, cross-country skiing for 20 days, and someone had dropped out. And I went, yeah, I can cross-country ski, which I'd been Lake Mountain once. So,
Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you
and
make
I
it.
did, yeah. They had no idea that I actually couldn't ski. So we headed off to India, and that was my gateway out of Australia. So cross-country skied in the Indian Himalayas and did a bit of travelling there. Then went to Nepal, caught up with a group of raft guides there, and we whitewater rafted 5 of the big rivers in monsoon season.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty special. So we were out rafting and hiking for a month, just living in the wild once again.
So I imagine the big rivers, by big rivers you mean pretty hectic rapids?
Yeah,
Class
yeah,
4
up to
and
grade
5
6.
Grade
yeah.
6. Grade 6 is the top.
Grade 6 is
right?
death sort of stuff.
Death,
yeah.
okay.
Well, they don't recommend you going through the grade 6
Oh, it makes
stuff.
sense.
Really? So how many survived? Everyone survived? A few survived? Lone survivor?
I'm the only one. Still.
I haven't actually seen that movie. I didn't know it was about you.
Grade 6.
Some of them, the grade 6 stuff we portaged. Some I'd even just jump in and float down. Well, you know, it's kind of pretty exciting. You guys have been around whitewater and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what it's like.
But pretty low.
Yeah,
grade.
definitely nowhere near grade 6. Maybe a light trickle.
I'm like prep. I'm in preschool, kindergarten.
So yeah, it was good
Right.
fun, and we did all survive and continued on.
So you wet your whistle with downhill skiing in the Himalayas.
Cross country skiing.
Cross country skiing.
Yeah.
It's one way to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. I've never done anything like that.
Yeah, that's
I
35.
play a mean game of chess though, so we'll be on for that.
Downhill chess?
Downhill chess.
Pass.
No, that's stupid, Bill.
So after whitewater rafting, after cross-country skiing, what happened?
Went to Nepal whitewater rafting, and then everyone went sort of home. And I don't like to generally do the beaten track, so there was the Annapurna circuit, base camp, that sort of stuff. And I just thought, no, I just grabbed a map and headed off into the mountains. It was kind of stupid, but it's kind of fun at the time.
How many people were you with?
Just a friend, just a companion, and we got into places in Nepal where they didn't even know the word hello. So
Really?
that's how deep we got. But we got lost, and with a couple of days
What
out.
did you say to him?
Hello?
Ni hao, is it ni hao? I can't remember.
Ni hao.
Yeah, ni hao.
I just made that up. Hopefully I don't get pulled up on that.
Oh no, that's Chinese.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
Namaste,
Alright,
namaste. That's it.
Namaste. Oh, namaste, of course.
Yeah. We've been there, Bill.
I've been there twice in the last 9 months. I'm just getting confused. I'm a little nervous, guys. I'm not gonna lie. So after Nepal, so this is, you told us earlier, this is a 2.5 year.
Yeah.
2.5 year trip, and
That's
did
only
you
3
end
months.
Did you end in London? You said you were living
I
in
ended
London.
up in London from Nepal and was just dazzled by. You've been in such remote places where everyone says hello, good morning.
Ni hao.
Ni hao. No, namaste.
Yeah, I'm only kidding.
Wasn't. And then I went to London where no one said hello, and it was just this fake sort of world. So I stayed there for a few months, got some money together, and then headed off to Africa with a friend from high school. We'd met year 7, and we'd always had this dream to go and check out Africa, and that's where we
And help
headed.
out and volunteer, or just tour?
No,
and
just we never actually were on an organised tour. We just sort of hitchhiked around, backpacked around, that sort of stuff. Just lived once again a bit on the wild side. And,
Yep.
what were you doing for money and stuff? Or you saved up enough, or
Good question.
live on the cheap?
I just lived on a shoestring. So, I think I left with $8,000 in the bank and went away for 2.5 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, without running out of money.
What's
Wow.
that? What's that? What would the equivalent of that be now? 8,000. What would 8,000 get you? Like, is it like leaving for like with 20,000? Would it be like $20,000 back
That's
in
a
the
good
day?
question.
Kinda?
I could probably still go and travel for $8,000. I reckon. Probably not for 2 years, but yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Just the main thing is when you're in like London and that sort of stuff, accommodation, all that sort of stuff. But when you're travelling, there was a place through Ethiopia. It was £2 a day we were living on.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I've been
it's
through
pretty
Guatemala and spent. I was probably living on $10 a day in Guatemala, and that was only a few years ago.
Yep.
Hostel for $3 a night.
Wow.
It was an epic hostel too.
Yeah.
It was sick. And
Yep.
then it was like, food. If you bought local food, you'd literally spend $1 on a meal.
Yep.
So you can still do it, but then take into account I was drinking 50 beers a night, shots, and being an idiot. So I spent about $100 a day. But it can be done.
A little
You're not
bit
an idiot.
guilty of that too.
So what about So in this whole Africa trip, where did you
Yeah.
go? Because I've been to Africa. I've been to South Africa and Zimbabwe, and I've been to Victoria Falls and Cape Town, Jeffreys Bay, and none of those areas really felt like Africa. Don't get me wrong, my favourite part of the world, or as good as anywhere I've ever been. But Cape Town's very much like Melbourne. I felt like I was at home,
sure.
the standard of living and so on and so forth. So, yeah, like which Africa were you in?
So I started in Kenya, went to Uganda, Tanzania, Malawi. But once again,
Africa.
off the beaten trails. I didn't go to any of the tourist destinations. Sometimes would just jump on a bus and head out to middle of nowhere and get off and just hang around in a village. And when I say village, it's mud huts.
Really?
And you just rock up and say, hey, got a place to sleep? Or
Sometimes they have little like guest houses and that sort of thing. And ni hao.
Yeah, I'm not
and so you couldn't plan any of this. You just sort of jumped on and
Just
winged
random.
it.
It's all random. Yep. And I got because I was living on a shoestring. I'd never had any tours organised and that sort of stuff, and I wanted to check out a park. Just to see some animals. So I just traded with a hotel, did some murals and paintings on their wall, and they gave me a trip through a
So you're an
park.
artist as well.
Yeah, I can do.
Wow.
Yeah, a bit of that in my background.
Bit of finger painting on the old wall
Yeah,
there.
and a bit of Aboriginal artwork.
Yeah.
No, not true.
That's cool. I've always wanted to do something like that when I'm travelling. Have you ever worked overseas a day, Mac?
Yeah.
I always say I'm going to, but I've never have.
Just like Deanna, actually, I winged it and scored myself a job water skiing.
You remember you telling me about this?
I'd never water skied or wakeboarded in my life. Applied for a job being a water skiing wakeboard instructor.
Had you had this conversation with Deanna before you went over there? Did you know that it was fake it till you make it was the only way to do it?
Yeah, that's it. And so, I applied for this overseas job in America and had some Skype interviews and talked my way through that. I thought I'm a snow skier and so I think I'm quite coordinated, and I thought
Melted snow, same thing.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I just transferred everything I knew about snow onto water. So I've been water skiing since I was a little baby, and been on the water since forever, and driving boats X, Y, Z. And I finally got the call up to say congratulations, you got the job, and my stomach just sank, and I thought, holy crap! So I studied YouTube, and YouTube taught me everything, and I went over to America, and I was quite confident, and 3 days before I started, I said to my my boss, the guy who was in charge, I go, mate, listen, I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, but I have lied 15 times to you.
In brackets, yeah.
Again.
I'm going to lie to you again.
I've never water skied or wakeboarded in my life. And he just called me a fucking idiot. And we got on the boat, and he goes, right, what do you know? And I told him everything YouTube taught me. And he goes, oh, that's it. So I pulled him up first time, and he pulled me up first time, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, that's epic.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's good.
Love it.
Nothing wrong with a nice little big fat lie. So, all right. So we want to throw to a bit of news, or
Yeah, why not? Yeah, let's do that.
you got some good, the bad, and the science?
Do I?
Should I do the jingle or?
Yeah, do
Yeah,
the
you only
jingle.
live once.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it, Bill.
Coming to you from Tommy's news desk. It's the good, the bad, and the science.
Is that the one we agreed on?
What a fuck.
I don't know if it is.
Legit
Yeah.
jingle. Sorry, guys. Sorry, listeners.
All right, so I'm going to bring up three things: the good, the bad, and the science. The good and the bad can sometimes be a little bit more serious. The science can be super interesting. The good this time isn't that serious. So, so the phrase "captain's call." Let me just use that in a sentence. Geez, I was pissed last night. I was on with this chick, but my mate booted me out because I was a wreck. Look, fair enough, it was the captain's call. I'll take that on board. So we all know what it means.
Yeah.
Yeah? So captain's call has officially become the Macquarie's Dictionary Word of the Year, or Phrase of the Year for 2015. So a little quote here. According to BBC, a phrase plucked from the cricket pitch and politicised by former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott has become the Macquarie Dictionary Word of the Year. The noun is defined as a decision made by a political or business leader without consultation with colleagues. Bizarre. Now, my question to you guys is, what are some other Australian sayings you guys should be in the Macquarie Dictionary that maybe will put us a bit more on the map. We'll throw this one to Deanna first off.
Oh, no.
Or
Please
straight
don't.
off.
No. I'm handballing that one.
Yeah. Handballing to Bill.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
Like, I can't handball that way.
You've really fucked me right over here, Tommy. I just wanted to learn, mate.
Yeah.
I just want to learn some facts.
Oh, you'll learn.
You'll learn the hard way. No, I'm gonna pass it on over to Matt.
Who's going to pass it back to Deanna?
I've got one.
Okay.
Deanna's got one.
Deanna?
It's not really an Aussie one, but this one's to Peter. Stands out like Soldier Boys on a fruitcake.
Oh, yeah.
I've got no idea what it means. But
Tommy's like, yeah, I agree with that.
What?
and that's exactly, yeah.
I get the fruitcake part. That's about it.
Just in terms of, you know what a fruitcake is? Or in the expression?
No, I'm aware of a fruitcake.
Oh, good.
Soldier Boys are little sausages, aren't they?
I thought they were little soldiers.
Yeah.
Little
Sausages on
I
a
was.
cake. Who eats
fuck,
that?
man. Next, what's the bad?
Sausages on a cake?
Mate, she's the one coming up to say.
Yeah.
Soldier Boys on a cake. I don't know.
No. Weird. All right.
What do you got for
we'll
us,
move
brother?
we'll move to the bad. This one was interesting. Now, this was, I don't have too much here. I've got an article from the Sydney Morning Herald. On Australia Day, Mitchell Pearce, who was the Sydney Roosters captain, got into a bit of trouble for making a lewd act involving a dog. And he's since had to retire from his captaincy, I believe. You guys aware of this? You guys aware of it? Yeah. Now, was it an overreaction, or was it a genuinely lewd act that shouldn't have happened? I mean, he said that he was very drunk, but doesn't really cut it.
He was very drunk. Have you seen the footage?
I haven't seen the footage.
He's very drunk.
I spoke to my one of my weightlifting coaches. We were discussing it the other day at the weightlifting club, and I haven't seen the footage, so I can't really comment on it. But Harvey was telling me about it, and he's like, yeah, he was doing this, and then he wet his pants standing up, and I'm having a giggle.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, that's epic.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're a captain of a club, but I haven't seen the footage. So I heard it was in good spirits, and everyone asked him to leave. They told him to pull his head in, and he did so.
Yeah, he definitely
Having
got
said
3
that-
votes. that
3
night.
votes?
He got 3 votes that night.
You loved it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the dog was too happy.
The dog's pregnant now. Shit.
Have you seen Family Guy? Is it Family Guy, the episode? Oh, no, it's The Simpsons, the episode.
What happens? The dog, Santa's little helper.
That's right.
Next. Yeah, no, I think it's tough.
It was
It's
a
tough.
private residence, and
That's right. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing.
and
No,
like,
but they did ask him. As soon as they said, you've got to leave, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
He got up and just left.
Look, I think if it's a private residence, he's probably a little bit stiff. Like you can be in the media spotlight, you can be the leader of a football club, but if you're in the confines of your own house or someone else's house and you're enjoying yourself, you should be able to do whatever
with
you
the
want.
dog.
Yeah, look,
The dog wasn't enjoying. Did you say the dog wasn't enjoying itself?
How do we know the
think
dog
we-
wasn't enjoying it?
Yeah,
That's the
that's
question.
true.
Yeah, exactly. Should have polled the dog.
We should get the dog on the show. Can we make a few calls? Yeah, look, I think I tend to agree. I think it was a bit stiff to. I don't know who was filming him. If he was in,
What a jerk whoever
yeah,
that was.
he your mate or I mean I don't know, but
Ex-mate.
No, it would have been a
Surely
guy
not.
that was a part of the house because he
Probably
didn't
a friend
move
of the
and
dogs.
It was,
yeah, definitely a friend of the dogs. Oh, poor dog. Alrighty, and finally the science guys. This is pretty cool. American astronomers. Now this is relatively old news, but we haven't talked about it yet. And I think it's really really cool. American astronomers say they have strong evidence that there is a 9th planet in our solar system orbiting far beyond even the dwarf world Pluto. So when I heard this, I didn't do anything, but it's cool. I didn't do a thing. I wrote this. Apparently, it's 10 times the mass of Earth, and here's a couple of facts here. Now, as we know, the time it takes Earth to revolve around the Sun is approximately 365 days, or a year, as some people call it. However, this novel object, how's that one? Novel object, would be in a highly elliptical trajectory, taking between 10,000 to 20,000 years to complete one full lap. Fuck. How's that? So,
Elliptical?
yeah, like a cross trainer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the clarity.
What do you guys reckon? Do you reckon, does this change much?
Nah, it doesn't change any fucking small piece of my life.
Good.
Deanna?
Do you like solar system? Or cross trainers?
Do you like planets and stuff?
Yeah, no, nothing in my life.
Very
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I liked it. I heard about it, and I was pretty genuinely like, "Oh, that's cool, the ninth planet." Where, because they said the planet was how big? 10 times Earth? Or
Yeah,
100
10 times the mass.
What's
Yeah.
it? What's it called?
We don't know yet. We could
Planet
throw a few
9.
names. What do
Maybe.
you guys want to call it? We'll call it. I'll have all this one to Macca. Fuck off. What do you want to call it, mate?
What was that dog's name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ludat. Ninth planet Ludat. That's probably not going to take off.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I like hearing stuff like that. The one thing, I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand the orbit of such a big planet. I didn't put all that into perspective. I was kind of thinking, hang on a second. There's a planet that's 100 times bigger than Earth, and you just noticed it?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But then I'm an idiot because I didn't take it into account. I'm not a scientist, guys. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah. And that has been the good, the bad, and the science. Thank you all.
Tommy.
No worries.
Thank you.
And that'll be the last good, the bad, and the science video.
I'm out of a job.
All right. So where were we?
In Africa.
We were.
Yeah.
So after Africa, you went back to London?
Yeah, I got really sick in Africa and pretty much had to head back to London. I tried living there while I was sick, but there was just nothing that they could do. And there was, they tested me for tonsillitis and all this sort of stuff. And there was they weren't helping. Their medical system there is not really
Yeah, I can
crash
imagine.
hot. So I headed back to London to get some medical help. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about London. So you were worried at the time. You were unwell. You were feeling really. So you didn't know what was going on. Tell us the feeling and tell us what happened in London when you found out you were HIV positive. This is what we're talking about, correct?
Yeah. So I'd been living in Africa. I ended up in Malawi, living with a family there, and started a relationship with a guy there. HIV, we'd been warned about HIV at school.
Yep.
It's still in the early 90s now. But it's something that you'd think is never going to happen. So
Absolutely.
I knew about HIV in Africa and that sort of stuff, but started a relationship anyway. And within, I can't even remember the timing, but I started just getting really unwell. And generally, I'm pretty bomb-proof, so I don't get sick normally. It's about headaches and then fevers and all that sort of stuff. Over a period of 6 weeks, I lost about 20 kilos of weight. So, yeah, pretty
And you're
full
walking around at like 50 kilos.
on. Be closer to 40-something probably.
This is once you've lost the weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got to a point where I could barely stand up. I could only drink cold milk and just kept passing out. I was a bit of a
And
wreck.
you're still in Africa at this stage?
Still in Africa,
Yeah.
yeah. So somehow managed to catch a bus down to Joburg and then fly out of Joburg and pretty much went straight from the airport to the hospital. And I said, look, I've been travelling around Africa. They could see I was really sick. I just said, test me for everything. And I requested a HIV test. And it wasn't, I didn't think that I'd have it, but it was something that I could go, just tick. I've had that test. Yeah. Because, there's so many other things you can get, TB, malaria and all the other bugs and grubs that you can pick up over there. So then they called me the next day saying I did have malaria. And so I was put in the tropical disease hospital there. And that was a time before we didn't have emails, we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have all that sort of stuff. So it was kind of lonely and very scary time because, firstly I was very unwell. My body I was just felt like skin and bone. And, just all my friends were back in Australia.
Can I ask why you didn't go back to Australia to get tested? And
I wasn't ready to go home.
Right. Yeah, okay, yeah,
just,
cool.
So you thought you might have just had malaria, might have had some illness that you can kind of knock on the head and keep living the dream at the time.
Totally.
Basically.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't run home easily, if that makes sense. I try and battle my own battles and keep on going. And I didn't want to go home.
I had the similar thing happen to me once where I went from 82 kilos to 66. I'd lost 16 kilos
Yep.
in Bolivia. And I was the same. I know the feeling. So
Yep.
you just don't. You're like, no, I'll get through it. I'll
Yeah,
be fine.
totally.
And you're having the time of your life, so
Yeah.
you want to keep having the time of your life.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it was. So I spent a couple of weeks in the tropical disease hospital, and when you're alone and you've got a lot, you've just got a lot of time to think. So that's when I thought about HIV, and because I still had to wait, for the test.
And this is when HIV and obviously the carry on of AIDS through the 80s it was scary, right?
Yeah. So when I went back to get my test, they gave me counselling, which was great. But basically, when I got the result, it freaked me out. Yeah, I was like 24 years old, and fuck, who's gonna, what's gonna happen with my life? And there was no medication. Just I don't know. Have you guys seen the Dallas Club?
Yeah.
Boys Club, yep.
There was only AZT around at that time, which was a really potentially dangerous drug on its own, and actually did nothing. So they said, look, there's this medication, but it doesn't really do anything, so we don't recommend you take it. And they just said there's nothing else. So you've got 5 years. If you go for 5 years,
Wow. No way.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
And how was that? What were you feeling then?
I was just feeling disgusting, actually. The length of life, it was a shock and all, but it was more like HIV and AIDS has such a ugly
Stigma.
stigma, and it's just this ugly, horrible, what we'd learnt about it. Did you see the Grim Reaper ad? Have you seen the Grim Reaper?
No.
I think I have seen that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Mum, of all people, showed me that a couple of years ago, and I remember it being like... I remember it being very similar to the propaganda that, like, Hitler put out about all the rats and killing them, the Jews and all this thing. There was just a real, stigma associated with it.
Very deathly,
Yeah,
black, dark.
Really,
And this
really
was
negative.
This was to promote safe sex, or what was this ad supposed to be achieving?
Safe sex, HIV or AIDS awareness at the time, and
they used the Grim Reaper.
yeah, great. Yep.
Right, so they gave you 5 years.
Yep.
At best.
Yeah.
And you just walked out of the hospital and put one foot in front of the other, or how'd you get started after that?
Bit of a slow start. Firstly, I didn't attend any groups and stuff. I just thought, no, I can do this on my own. I don't need to talk to other people. That sort of, I'm a hero sort of thing. However, in time I did get to be around other people, and that was the best thing I could have done. So I just wallowed in my own self-pity, I guess, in a way that, like, I wasn't suicidal. I still wanted to live. I just wanted to get the best out of my life, but I was still in that, you're up and down, shock mode, and I just felt disgusting. I felt ugly. I felt ashamed, and I felt stupid.
Right.
Like, we all know how to avoid HIV, and I was stupid enough to
Contract HIV.
Yeah.
Was your boyfriend or partner at the time with you then? Did he?
No, he was still over in Africa, and he didn't know he was carrying it. And no one does over there. They just, it's pretty much in some places it's 1 in 3, and I don't know what it's
Wow.
even probably higher
I think it's
now.
still 1 in 6 to this day, I believe.
Depending on what area, some countries have really got a hold of it and
Yep.
sort of turn it around. Other countries still think you can,
So, sorry to cut you off.
That's all right.
So, what type of coping mechanisms did you? What broke through that you kind of thought I'm going to be okay here? What is there anything that you kind of implemented to keep your mind positive? Basically, I mean, it must have been hard.
Yeah, I've got a naturally I'm solution focused and that sort of stuff. But on saying that, I was still up and down dark place.
Yeah.
Like most people, when they don't want to face things, I sort of turned to alcohol and partying and just living it up. I just thought, well, I don't have long left, so let's go.
That's what I would do.
Let's go.
I would go straight to the bar.
$8,000 as well. Yeah.
Let's go.
So this is London
have
still.
fun.
London.
Yeah. So I did that for a little while and went clubbing. I love dancing and just I sort of used to let my hair down and
Was it you don't have to answer this, but was it like a downward spiral? Were you partying out of control, or was it kind of control, just enjoying yourself?
Yeah, not out of control.
Yeah.
Controlled. Yeah. So I didn't do drugs or anything like that, but I just drank a bit.
Yeah.
It was good fun.
Yeah.
No different really to most kids that age. It's just for me, I hadn't done that. Being an athlete and being just a kind
You've
of.
been so healthy all your life, and you
Yeah.
had your health not taken away,
I just
and
thought-
into bad fitness, you became ill.
Yeah, so looking after my body and doing all the right things got me there. So stuff it, let's just join everyone else. And
And so what did they, how many years down the track was it that you started thinking, well, hang on, I don't have 5 years. I've got more and more and more.
so
Probably about 5 years down the track.
I went, boom. No, it was not until I came back to Australia. And then I got really sick. I had an AIDS-defining illness, was in hospital, probably with about 6 months to live.
So, sorry, just to clarify, you had, what does AIDS-defining illness mean?
So HIV is when you've got the virus in your body,
Yes.
and it's living in your body and attacking your immune system. Before the medication became available, it attacked your immune system so much that you had you got an illness which was there's an AIDS-defining illnesses, so it could be in that skin cancer lesion, brain infections. There's PCP pneumonia. There's a whole list of illnesses that come under AIDS.
So if you get pneumonia with HIV, your immune system is at that low of a point that you can be classified in the AIDS bracket, or
So it's not a normal pneumonia. So there's it's called a PCP pneumonia, and there's this little bug that lives in hot, humid places, and it's in every public shower, like pools. It's in yoga studios. It's everywhere. When you're fit and healthy, your body just ignores it. It's the same as that toxoplasmosis, which is in cat feces.
Yep.
You know, if you're fit and healthy, you can change the cat litter tray and no problem. But when your immune system gets so shot, you've got no resistance to those bugs. So the PCP pneumonia I got from originally, I don't know where I got it. I've had it a few times.
I've had pneumonia before, and I was at my peak, playing football, strong, fit, and it fucked me up.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine, because your immune system was already shot, right?
Totally shot.
Pretty
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't imagine how it would have been.
Yeah. So that's why I guess they gave me 6 months. It's a very violent sort of pneumonia, and there was no medication. There was medication for the pneumonia, but no medication to help build my immune system, which was the antivirals. But that was the same year that they became available in Australia. So eventually when they got here, I started taking them, and that's when I knew I felt life coming back. You know, I felt
Right.
I'd been so close to death, and then you start taking this medication. Your immune system starts responding, and you start putting on weight, and that's when I just knew I was going to live. And I thought that's when I just changed my attitude and think I'm not going to wait to die. I'm actually going to live.
And so you then went out and, so what age were you then?
26.
26. And so
Yeah.
you got back into sport, or you went out and partied, or what did you do? Or
No sport. So I just decided I prioritised what I wanted out of my life. I wanted to have family. I know it was kind of weird back then, but I'd heard of people having kids and not passing the virus onto their children. So that was one of, I did want kids. And
is that a gamble?
well, life's always a gamble, so yeah.
So
Yeah, it was a low risk.
right.
So some people would see, you've got the word low risk. Some people would see low. That's what I see. Other people see risk and don't go
It's
there.
a really good way to put it.
Yeah, so I see low, and
You're a glass half full kind of chick.
well, cliche, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
My glass is not half full. It's right.
Yeah.
Brimming over.
Yeah, that's good. That's the best way to be. So
yeah.
you've got 2 kids now, and they're
Yeah.
so how old are your children?
My daughter's 17 and my son's 12, and both of them are HIV negative. So.
Great.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how open are you about HIV and do you find that there is still much stigma going on with it, and do you only tell some people, or your obstacle racing fans and that sort of industry, are they all well aware of it, or how public is it these days?
So being open about my HIV status has been a journey. Originally I was too scared. I felt ashamed. I felt stupid. I felt like a real idiot. It wasn't until I started having confidence in myself and believing in myself. So just actually sitting back and thinking, well, I got this virus the way you were conceived and the way you were conceived. And we're naturally designed to have sex. That's our primary purpose on
Absolutely.
Earth.
And it's good.
I wouldn't know. That was great.
It is.
You're watching how to do it on the computer.
No, I'm saying, I know how to do it. YouTube taught you, didn't it?
Mitch and the dog.
Yeah, that's right.
So I just started thinking, well, why am I so ashamed of this? Why am I feeling? Why do I have to hide? And that was my initial. I just thought, stuff this. I've got to live with all these lies for doing something that we're all doing. So just having the confidence to sort of believe in that, and also when I started to disclose to family and friends, they were kind of all okay, and some people were a little bit freaked, but generally everyone was okay. So I just thought, well, we can either live in fear and all hide behind our status, or some people can step up, and I just felt strong enough to step up. My first talk that I ever did was with my daughter. She was 6 months old. And I had a huge fear of public speaking. I'd get up normally, like at high school, if I had to speak in front of a class, I'd stand up and faint.
Do you know, sorry to break in your story here. I went to a Toastmasters class on Tuesday of this week, and they had an impromptu speaking section in the middle, and I didn't put my hand up to speak for it. I was a guest. But they ran out of regular members, and they had 2 questions left. And the guy sitting next to me was egging me on. This guy will speak, this guy will speak. I said, I'll speak. I stood up. This is what I said. I stood up. I said, oh, shit, I'm nervous. Everyone laughed, which was good. Then I said, everyone laughed, which is good. And I said, Then I looked at the MC. I said, I'm going to pass. I sat down. I said, I'll try better next time. And everyone laughed. And I just felt like the biggest fool ever.
Yeah.
Totally fucked it up. I'm so scared of public speaking.
Yeah.
That's an awful story.
Wouldn't wish it upon anyone.
Yeah, so...
So you're speaking... So you started with... Your first audience was your daughter.
Well, no, she was in my arms as I was speaking. So that was kind of cool. And the first school I spoke at with her was the school she's now going to, which is... Yeah, as a teenager, so that's kind of cool as well. Anyway, from there it grew, just bit by bit. And then when I started sport, I was too scared to talk about my HIV status. So I kind of hid again, just in case they said, no, you can't do this. Because adventure racing, you're kind of out there and out in the bush for potentially days, and stuff can happen. So I thought, no, I better not say it in case they don't let me race, and I want to keep racing. So I hid for a while, then I just thought, stuff it. Once again, I'm hiding.
Yep.
And I can't keep hiding. So it's just through that, I guess it's a little bit selfish because I want to keep doing what I'm doing and paving a way so others can follow.
I wouldn't call that selfish at all.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, but you're helping other people. You're helping other people that would contract HIV kind of... come to the realization that they can have a family, live a normal life, do the things that they want to do.
Yeah,
I would definitely say it's a massive positive thing that you're doing rather than a selfish thing, personally.
Thank you, but it's my own motives. However, it does have a ripple effect. I see it like that. It's
absolutely.
So, yeah, and that's sort of how it came about. And once again, when I had my children and they started at schools, I was a little bit scared again, so I sort of got away from the media. I wasn't in any mags or anything like that because I didn't want my status to affect how they were treated at school because, kids could be nasty. Anyway, once again, I get to this stage where I think, why am I hiding? Someone needs to show the face, show that, there are mums out there that have kids, and also, like you say, show other people that if they do become positive, that there's still a life to have. So it's just that little steps, baby steps. And now I just don't give a shit.
It's definitely built a very, very strong character of yourself, and I see it almost every day when you work out in my gym. And I know, little precautions you take, like you'll wear gloves and stuff like that. And what about the obby racing? Are you, do they make you wear anything? You're pretty well aware of what you need to do.
Yep.
Do you find people are standoffish? Like I remember asking you when you first came in and said, I'm HIV. I said, okay, cool. What do we need to do?
Yep.
To make this work.
Yep.
Are they supportive like that as well?
Yeah, look, most people are incredibly supportive. I've just been welcomed with open arms everywhere. I do remember once in an event, normally I roll under the barbecue. Normally I roll on top of the barbecue.
Strange. That's a real weird obstacle to be facing. Fair enough.
This is a weird sport.
So normally I roll under the barbed wire, sort of tucked in. And for one race, for some reason, I had my arms out here. Anyway, I've come out and there's just blood everywhere. And I've just gone, oh my God. And there's another guy there, and who I know, and I've just gone, what do I do? And he's just gone, just see what happens. If you get to a rope and you're still like this, don't do the rope climb. Don't do anything that's going to put your blood, which is pretty obvious. So anyway, I kept running. Unfortunately, there was a few water obstacles, so that sort of cleaned it up, and I just got some mud and sort of
Patch yourself up.
Wow.
Bopped me, in we go. And then, as blood does, it sort of dries up, congeals itself, and I kept going. But, I'm aware, at least knowing my status, I know how to protect myself and I know how to protect others. And, there's no way I'd put anyone at risk. So...
Just for some information, how long is it live outside the body?
The HIV virus is very vulnerable. So... exposed to air, it's only got like a 2 or 3 second shelf life, unless like you've got like a big glob of blood that stays warm, wet and warm. But even then, it dies really quick. It's not like Hep C or other viruses. It hates being outside the body, just pretty much dies off. Yep. And also being on medication as well. Actually, like if anyone was to test me for the virus, that wouldn't show. So my virus in my blood is undetectable, which makes me. I guess...
Superwoman.
Yeah. So you can't see it. It's in my blood and it is in at very, very low quantities and not enough. Like my blood now so it's in your body fluids. So my body fluids, the HIV isn't in enough concentration to infect anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, so with my partner or my husband, my body fluids are as normal like anyone else. So
that's great.
Yeah. And it's only like I don't promote that, and the doctors won't promote that, but in amongst community, we're aware that we're not infectious.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, hey?
Yeah,
absolutely. Do you want to throw over to Tommy for some more?
Yeah, we'll throw it to Tommy, and then we'll start talking about some, the world's toughest mudder and the Spartan race and the 48-hour challenges and the 5-day events and the superwoman that Deanna is. So let's throw
All the
to
fun
Tommy.
stuff.
Cool. Okay, guys, this is the Book of Creep. This is a quite a bizarre sort of segment, but it's this week I'm actually really super interested to hear people's thoughts because I've had this a couple of times. We're talking about sleep paralysis. So first one, do any of you guys know what sleep paralysis is?
Yeah, I do.
Have you heard it before?
Is that like astro travel sort of stuff?
I don't know what that is, but yes, it is.
Yeah, I know what you're on about.
No, so basically, millions and millions of people have had this across the world, and like I was actually doing a lot of research on it, and there's hieroglyphics and there's paintings and stuff that have referred to it as people sort of sleeping, and then feeling that feeling of being awake, but they can't sort of open their eyes and they're paralyzed, and it can be a very negative experience. And I've had it before. I've had it when I've been at a point where I was really stressed, and then I've also had at a point where I just wasn't sleeping that well. So I don't know if it was something to do with that. And we all know the effects of when you're sleeping, you're going through REMs. You are effectively hallucinating, you're dreaming. So it's that sort of transition between deep sleep and being awake. But I haven't read it. I'll have to listen to this one. This is a guy's experience with sleep paralysis that I thought was really super interesting. I remember this creepy thing still very strongly because this was only one of my scariest moments of my life. I remember I was about 3 to 4 years old. Unbelievable memory. And I still remember this as being really bad. I asked for my mum, and she said that I didn't ever wake up in the middle of the night for no reason. But this night I did. I didn't see any kind of horror movies or anything like that at the time as this happened. So it wasn't just my imagination, like everyone else said. I woke up in the middle of the night. I don't know why. At the same time as I opened my eyes, my door was open and I saw a very tall black demon with devil's horns standing on the door. It really had those very creepy red eyes, and it just stood here and waved at me with right arm very slowly and creepy. It was so dark, but I saw red eyes very well, and it had really long nails. So I was so young, I thought it was just some monster who tried to scare me. So I pretended that I wasn't scared, and I said, "Hi, monster." And I was shaking and freaked out. This is becoming a comedy now. The monster turned to him and said that he was the devil. I screamed for about 5 seconds. I looked at the door where the demon was, and it faded away. And he goes on to say that he doesn't really know if he was actually awake or if he was sleeping. But really interesting. And, it's really amazing that millions of people have sort of had this. Have you guys ever had this, Bill? You've had it before?
Oh, yeah, but I
She
didn't.
was hot, wasn't she?
I didn't.
Did you wake up wet or dry?
I wasn't in bed though. When I discussed this the other day, I've had sleep paralysis, but I don't really want to tell a story because that was very deep and very serious.
Yeah.
Mine was drunken sleep paralysis.
Right, okay, yeah.
I was in the front seat of my car after Australia Day, and I drank way too many beers and probably some shots and stuff.
Right.
And I fell asleep in my car and woke up at about 8 a.m. The sun
Yeah.
was beaming down, middle of summer, and I couldn't move. My eyes were open. I thought I'd fucked myself up today. I thought I'd really done a number on myself. I couldn't move. It took about 3... I was really scared. I couldn't get my phone, couldn't reach into my pockets. It got to the point where it was about 10 o'clock, 10:30, 2.5 hours. I'm sweating like a pig in the front seat of my car. I managed to open the door. I rolled out of the front seat onto the pavement, face down, and laid there for about 2 hours till I could call my mum, and my mum came and picked me up.
This is a couple of weeks ago.
Australia.
Australia.
It's about 5 years ago. And yeah,
Wow.
I was, so it's totally different. set of
Yeah, it's probably not
scenarios.
sleep paralysis. It's probably being drunk.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
It lasted about 5 hours. It was
Yeah.
totally
Wow.
fucked up. I was
Yeah.
real scared.
That's freaky.
I was
Yeah.
real scared. No demons or devils though.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced something like that, Deanna, or any sort of sleep
Yeah.
paralysis, anything like that?
Yeah, I a lot.
Yeah.
I was living in a house that had I felt like a lot of bad energies, and it ended up being every night I had that similar experiences. However, it was kind of like an energy, like it was an energy ball. I didn't see a devil or anything. It was just like this energy ball trying to suck me out of just take
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like yeah.
Did you feel like when you were, because I've had it once before, and I actually, this is going to sound really funny, but I remember it being the ghost in a Scooby-Doo episode, okay? And that actually
So
sparked...
you were
I was also
you
drunk.
weren't scared. You were happy yourself.
I was loving it. Yeah, no, I remember actually, I remember it so well, and it actually sparked my fear of ghosts that I've just literally gotten over, so get around me. But took some serious bloody meditation. But yeah, I sort of was aware that I was awake, but I was still sleeping, and this thing was just coming at me. And I swear fear is always associated with what could happen or what's about to happen as opposed to, what's actually going on. And it was just there, and it was like, exactly like you're describing, like it was sucking the energy. It was kind of like sitting on my chest
Yep.
and kind of really pushing down hard. And everyone has spoken about having the exact same experience, whether it was with a Scooby-Doo ghost or something else. Did you have that where it was kind of sitting on your chest or?
No, well, it's happened quite a lot, but not that. But I was in a place in Tasmania, and I was telling my mum about my experiences, and she just went, because at one place we stayed in Tasmania, it just kept coming at me through the night. Anyway, she just went, oh. Anyway, there was another time that it happened, because there's a bit of history in Tasmania.
Right.
And I said, it came last night, but I got it to go away. She said, I actually had an experience where something sat on my chest.
Wow.
Yeah, I obviously pushed it away, and she copped it. So
It's interesting, isn't it?
I've had something. I had a few beers the other day. No. I had something happen once that was really strange. So me and Tommy have talked a lot about anxiety and things of that nature because we've both had it from time to time. I get like social anxiety and it comes and goes. It never was a real. It wasn't making a negative impact on my life. It was just something that I dealt with. But then a couple of years ago, it became a really big negative impact in my life. I had been through stages back in the day. I used to take party drugs a little bit from time to time, obviously, and that messes
That's why you
with
lost
your-
16 kilos in Bolivia, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're not wrong. Yeah. But I'm not going to lie. But I got to the point where I was going through a rough patch when I was probably like 22, 23. And I used to get in moods where I was just such a negative person. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I'd go to my room, and it'd be social environments. Like I had to go to a party that everybody was at, and I was a little bit nervous of it. And what I would do is I would lay down and I would try and just relax. And I didn't have any meditation rituals at this time or anything that I could kind of combat it with. I just would lay down. I'd think to myself, come on, get yourself out of this. Let's go. Let's, pull yourself together. And there was one time in particular where I laid down in my bed staring at the ceiling for probably 3 hours. And it was just I wasn't asleep. It was just my brain that wasn't letting me. I couldn't move. I couldn't get up. No matter what I did, I couldn't bring myself to get up, have a shower, do anything, talk to my mum. I was living with my mum and dad at the time. And it felt like this is more of a mental health thing than a sleep seeing demons kind of thing. But it was, I was paralyzed at that point. I literally couldn't move. I couldn't bring myself, to get up and party.
Oh, you're on a massive come down, weren't you?
It wasn't after drugs. It was just like I used to take drugs till about 25, which is 5 years ago. I haven't had any, not even the skerrick of party drugs since then. And it wasn't directly after drugs, but it was kind of like I was in that point in my life where I was taking drugs, and I think that had a lot to do with whenever I'd get in real bad mindsets back in the day. 100% blame that all on taking drugs.
Oh, it is very stress related. They always say, I was reading it just before. Here it is. It is very stress related.
Nice one. Is that it? That's the Book of Creed?
That's the Book of Creed.
The Book of Creed.
The Book of Creed.
Alrighty.
So, Dee, tell us a bit about your adventure racing and what you've done recently and the championships you've held and all that jazz.
So, living with HIV, I was told that, sport wasn't something I should follow and, that it would wreck my immune system and that I should just, exercise, but just basic, going for walks and that sort of stuff. Always wanted to push the boundaries. So, it was just 2005, I'd seen a flyer for an adventure race, which was swimming, paddling, mountain biking and running it. And I just thought, man, I'm going to win this. Yeah. And that year I actually was in hospital again with another AIDS-defining illness because I thought I was a bit invincible and I came off my medication and I realised I wasn't invincible.
Right.
Yeah, so
that's a pretty good mindset, just going back to what you just said. You saw I saw an adventure race. It had this, and this in it, and I thought, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
That's a pretty positive mindset. Good stuff. Carry on.
Yeah, no worries. So 2 months before the event, I started training, and then I realised I'm not really 16 and 17 anymore, and my body might need a little bit more work. So I did the race anyway. I hired a bike for the event, and I hired a kayak. Got one lesson, and then it was sort of put out in this massive ocean. Loved it. Just every night before the event, like for the months leading up to it, when you get that surge of excitement that sort of elevates your heart rate. Every time I thought of this race, I'd get this elevation of heart rate and this excitement run through my body, and I just kind of woke me up. I'd been in this, living life. I had my kids, and I was like, where next? Where am I? And just to have that energy through my body, and I thought, all right. So anyway, I did the event, came 7th, but it had reignited that fire, and that was it. I just hooked, bought a bike, bought a boat, started training, and then progressively started winning events. And then I came back to do that race the next year and I won it. So it was
wow.
like, boom. So I was, 27 at the time, and my 37, not 27, still in hospital then. 37 at the time, and my nearest rival was a 23-year-old chick from Brisbane. So, I just felt, if people talk about one of my most amazing moments in life, it was coming across the finishing line and winning that event, just knowing, whatever life throws at you, if you, set some goals and really believe in it and
Believe in
do...
yourself.
Sorry?
Believe in yourself.
Yeah, and do what's required to achieve it. Like people say, dream big, but you can't dream big without making action for the dreams to come true. Like dreams you can come true, but you don't sit there and wait. You've got to make that happen. So my parents had surprisingly come down to watch me that event, which I didn't know, and I heard him in the crowd, and at that stage I'd just come into first place. I still had a mountain bike and a run to go. But just to hear them in the crowd, and I don't know, it was a really special day just to think, wow, I can do this. I'm going to win this race. And to have my parents there who'd, like my dad, when my mum disclosed my dad, he pretty much lived in denial for a long time, and I feel he was a bit slower to get his head around it. So just to hear him there and to know he was watching me be in ultimate health and fitness and doing what I used to do when I was a kid, I know it's just hit some chords for me. So and that started. I got my name on the map, I guess, of adventure racing. So then teams would pick me up, and then I'd go over to Ireland and race,
Really?
and France, and I raced internationally for a little while. It was really cool.
Really? So you had sponsors that would help you out there. You had, or how does it work? Is it a big enough event that you big enough sport that you can get sponsors on board to travel the world, or were you paying for that a little bit yourself out of your own drive to do it, or?
No, fortunately the teams had sponsorship behind them, so cool. I'd be picked up. So the teams consist of 3 guys and a girl. International adventure racing, a team's going to have 3 guys and a girl. It can have 2 guys and 2 girls, but it's got to have at least 1 girl. So generally they're looking for chicks. So you just sort of get picked up and go with this team and then another team and that sort of stuff, whoever needed a female at the time. So it was all just living the dream again, which is something I never ever thought was possible. And then I ended up China. The last 3 or 4 years, China's been really good for adventure racing. A lot of money there. They pay for your travel to get across there. Like you don't even need a sponsor. They pay for everything. So,
really?
Yeah. And you win US dollars. So
that's
boom.
insane.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So China's been massive for adventure racing in the last 4 years, and I had been racing with a team there until I discovered the obstacle racing, and then I was doing the 2 for a while, but it just got too complicated.
And the difference between the 2, the main difference, apart from the obstacles.
So adventure racing. Yeah, barbecues are way different. Adventure racing is a mixture of mountain biking, paddling, running, trekking, abseiling, canyoning, all that. It's awesome, cool. awesome sport. And obstacle racing is basically running with obstacles thrown in the way. Barbed wire.
Like a Tough Mudder or Spartan or something like that.
Yep. So you got rope climbs, cargo nets. There's rigs that you've got to get through, and
so you prefer the obstacle racing? That's what you're doing now?
I'm doing obstacle racing. Not necessarily that I prefer. Well, I'm obviously preferring it because I'm doing it. But
aren't they the ones with like electric fences and all the barbed wire and stuff you got to jump
Some of
over
them have the electric fences. Electric
wire.
That? No. I actually take the penalty now for the electric. I've been shocked so many times.
Really? So what? There's like a 1 minute penalty or something if you don't go through the barbed wire. The electric shock.
So if you don't, there's normally a
shock.
They can't be healthy.
Oh, it's revolting.
Yeah.
I've been shocked so many times that it's created an anxiety. It really has. Of something like
it's
normally
a terrible thing to do to people. It's really mad.
People pay money to do it.
Yeah.
So I just won't do it now. I'll just
So what are you competing in at the moment? Are you competing in the Tough Mudder and Spartan Race? Is Spartan Race generally the biggest obstacle racing company in the world? Or am I totally off track there?
No, you're right. So there's 2 that most well known. One is Spartan Race, and the other is Tough Mudder and World's Toughest Mudder. That's here in Australia. There's other little smaller events around, but in America there's now a lot of series. So there's Battle Frogs and Warrior Challenges, and Battle Frog's massive.
Terrible name though.
Yeah.
Keep that name.
Yeah, well, it's so unique. It's good.
Yeah, it's Battle Frog.
Bill's digging a hole here. Oh man, it's a good name.
I love the name. It's
and so there's 48-hour ones, or there's 5-day. What's the longest one that you go for non-stop?
24 hours.
24 hours. Yeah. So. And how would you fuel for an event like that?
So fueling a 24-hour event or anything longer, 6-hour, I guess it's all about your fuel, and it's about your equipment. So personally, up to 24 hours, I generally go on liquid fuels. So I mix up a smoothie. I've got this powder called Turbo that I put in it. Then avocados, bananas, dates, strawberries, coconut oil, all this sort of stuff. I mix in and I make about 2 litres of that and just put it in little containers.
So it sounds like some fats with some sort of high GI carbs.
Yeah, and chia seeds as well, so I got a bit of protein in there as well. Because when you're racing up to 24 hours, liquid's easy enough. Your body can handle it. It gets sick of sweet stuff, but I put salt in there as well just to savoury it up a bit. And I generally have that, and then I have every lap that I come in, I've got mandarins, anchovies, chips, just a whole array of food that's just put out on a tray. So every time I'll change my turbo fuel and my water, and then I'll just grab in my hands whatever my body's calling for.
And this is through the breaks. So you have, when you say one lap, so you have breaks through the 24 hours. From time to time, you can sit and eat and start again. Is that how it works, or it's 24
you can
hours straight?
sit and eat. I don't sit and eat. So my
So it's literally
transitions.
stop, grab your stuff, grab some food.
Yep. So I've got 2 packs,
Eat it on the
and
run.
I'll drop 1 pack and pick up one that my supports just, put new turbo shots in it and new water, and then I don't know what I'm going to be wanting, but when I see something, then I'll take it.
Yep.
So I just have a whole array of stuff. So pretty
You know
much
your
I'll
body really wants right at that time. You
Yep.
just grab it.
just grab it. So I just my transitions are about 2 minutes.
Really?
Yep. And then I'm out on the lap again.
Right. Because the reason I asked is I watched a 24-hour row event.
Row.
24 hours of rowing.
Ooh, nasty.
Why did you do that?
No, I didn't do it.
No, why did you watch?
Like,
Oh, I was sponsoring it. Adventure Fit Travel was a sponsor.
is
so
this
I
a
was down
concept rower?
It's probably the only comeback you could have said, you realise. You could have said anything else. That is a bizarre thing to do. I was watching 24 hours of rowing. Oh, because you were sponsoring it. Oh, right, okay.
there. Yeah, I'm just
You're
a real
fine.
weirdo.
You sold a lot of tickets that day, didn't you?
What?
You sold a lot of tickets that day, didn't you?
I sold one.
And he was rowing.
Dude just wanted an excuse to get off the rower. But they have, I think they had, because it was recorded officially, and the rules of the 24 hours rowing is they have 10 minutes off every hour, I believe.
Okay.
I think that's like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then they jump back on and go. So I thought that it might have been something like that, but it's not. You
You can have
go.
as much time. Some people will go and sleep, but depends what your objective is.
It's the people
just
that
to
finish 50 to 100.
Yeah, well, it depends whether you want to. Depends what you want for the race. For me,
Yep.
it's about placing, about getting as many miles under my belt. I go there with a goal. I spend a lot of money to go across
you
to the
wanna
States, and I want to do well. So if I went there to camp in my tent, I'd just go out in the hunt. Go climb a mountain or something.
Yeah, for sure.
And so where are you ranked, when you say you want to do well, where are you ranked on an Australian level or national level and an international level?
National, for the last 2 or 3 years, I was ranked number 1. However, there's this.
Pretty good.
Thanks.
Probably get a little bit better, but
And now there's this lady over in WA that's sort of stepping up, and she's got me.
Not that 27-year-old when you were 37.
No, she's 30. No, that's in America.
Okay.
No, this chick's early 30s. And at the start of the year, I was beating her, and at the end of the year, she's been getting me. So it's good. It's good to have a tussle out there now.
Yeah.
And world-wise, last year's not a really good year for me to compare. I've had a bit of health stuff going on that's not enabled me to have my best races. The year before, he's comfortably top 10 in the world's toughest mudder. I was second. Oh no, I did a teams event. I actually came across the line first female, but because I was in a
Really?
team, yeah.
That's amazing.
So
and
we're
the year-
sitting next to the world's toughest mudder right now.
wow.
Well, the year before that, I won it, and the year before that, I was actually third outright out of all the guys out of 14.
Really?
Yeah, 1,400
Wow.
starters, and
So what's your training protocol for this stuff?
yeah.
What's your day-to-day, or like in the lead up to? You're a CrossFitter?
Yep.
Is that pretty much where you spend most of your time training? You get out and go on obstacle courses for practice, or you just train in the gym and then go out and hit it on the events?
So when I was adventure racing, which was actually probably when I was at my fittest and when I was doing my best at obstacle racing, I guess because I was so cardio
fittest.
fit. Yeah.
Really slouching now and just coming in third in the world.
So then I was out on the roads, out on the trails a lot more. Then when I dropped the adventure racing, I kept up on the bike riding, that sort of thing, and just focus more. I did a lot of CrossFit. That's where I met Mac at CrossFit Diamond Valley.
I actually remember you coming in. You wanted to learn how to climb ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can do that now.
Yeah, you can.
Still working on the kipping. Just to get a lot more upper body strength. So I was strong from running, and I had the cardio fitness, but I just wanted a bit more grunt. So I got that from the CrossFit. For the last couple of years, I haven't devoted myself to CrossFit. I've used CrossFit as a means to get stronger for the obstacle racing.
Gotcha.
And where did you place in last year's Open with no training?
I don't remember.
Didn't you make the regional cutoff?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So.
No training. Minimal training, just walking.
2 days,
Wow.
2 days a week or something.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So I
Wish I
know
was good at stuff.
Yeah.
CrossFit's coming, but I will commit to that.
Really? So that's
Yeah,
your next sport you want to conquer?
Yeah, but it's
Wow.
just, it's like at the moment I'm sort of developing one while I'm still doing well in the other because they complement each other.
Yep.
But yeah, I've just got to get a bit of health stuff sorted out, and then so that my half of this year is going to be a bit wiped out for a while. I just need to get on top of life.
So I'm just really interested in your mental approach to workouts. I watched you do a repeat of 15.5 the other day, and there's no pain face, and I have actually, you can probably back me up, I've only actually ever seen you lie on your back twice, and one of them was the other day.
Yeah.
Has there been another time?
There has been another time.
Okay,
yeah.
maybe it wasn't in my class. But anyway, you don't show pain. You're very, very mentally strong until the end. What goes through your mind in the 24-hour events, or how do you develop your mental side? Because obviously, a lot of it is that versus your opponent.
Attack, I guess, the 24-hour thing first. For me, if you think too far in advance, you're gone. So if you're in the first hour of a 24-hour event, which normally hurts a little bit more because you haven't settled yet, you're still trying to clear all the...
Is this when you're thinking, oh, fuck, what have I done? Why do I put myself through this?
I've got to go to the toilet and I've got 24 hours to go.
Yeah.
I have thought that before, yeah. But the key is not to think that, because when you start thinking that is when your focus from what your objective is disappears. So I've taught myself to say, well, firstly, if that ever comes into my head, it's like there's no other option. Why are you even thinking that? There's no other option. You're not going to stop. You're not going to rest. You're not going to quit. You're just going to keep going. So it just stops all those self-doubts, all those little... People will find an excuse. These races really test people. And people go into them very fit and very trained, but the moment they find something... Because it hurts. 24 hours doing this stuff hurts.
Absolutely.
And you get, by the 20th, probably about probably 12, 13, 14th hour. And that's when people will drop out because they'll start looking for anything to go, oh, I can't do it now. I've got sore toe, or I'm a bit cold, or something like that. So
then it becomes a real mental battle. That's when you have to be strongest.
Well, I don't even allow that. It's like there's no other option. If I get something niggly, I don't normally, I'm not an advocate of painkillers, but I'll pop. If it's an A race, I'll just pop whatever it needs to get through it. Yep. So I just don't allow myself to think about quitting. I don't allow myself to think, not even the next obstacle. I just create a little bubble and just exist in that bubble.
Do you think that part of the obstacle racing and the 24-hour stuff, do you think that's the more important part than the fitness? Do you think your mental game allows you to beat people that could possibly be fitter than you?
Totally. Yep.
Yeah, I would say that would be the case.
A lot of people go into that way stronger and way fitter than me, but they don't get through. Like the first year I did it, there was 1,400 competitors start, and it was really cold. It got to -5 through the night, and
see you later. I'm out. I'm in the sheds.
I was in. You're
Hot cup
fully
of
clad.
Milo. Sorry guys, I was ready to go. I'm not tough.
But I go into like.
Now that's a punchline.
I'm not being honest.
But, there's medical tents every 2.5 miles around the course, and you go in there and there's just groups of grown, strong, fit men, shivering with a little cup of soup.
Really?
And I wouldn't go there. I just get my soup, dunk my fingers in it to warm up, walk out and then drink the soup, and off I go. So it's about just not thinking.
Not accepting it.
Yeah, you just don't think. You've got to turn your brain numb. So I'm blonde, so it works. That's easy. And just become robotic. That's it. Just do, don't think.
Cool.
Yes, to answer that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do feel pain. Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
Like that workout hurt.
Yeah. But I like it. You don't show any pain until it's over.
Yeah.
You've got a task. Obviously, I see you a lot, and I'm glad Bill's leading this conversation. I see you a lot, and you just do your work, and at the very end, you go for a walk outside, and that's when you start to breathe heavy, and it's really good.
Thanks.
Cool. Well, we've gone a while now, so we don't want to keep you too long, Deanna. We like to finish off with some questions. We'll field 9 questions. We'll throw 9 questions at you. 3 from Mac, 3 from me, 3 from Tommy.
Ooh.
I've only got 2 prepared in my head so far.
Cool.
But,
I think I only remember my 2. But
yeah, I've actually only got 1. Have you got your 3? You good to go?
First one is, what's your morning ritual?
Pretty much get up, take my turbo shake, and head on down to CrossFit.
Good.
That's it at the
You've got
moment.
another
I'm
45 seconds if you want to elaborate.
Second part to it could be another question is, do you meditate?
Meditating for me puts me to sleep.
Yep.
So I do yoga, and that's my closest thing I can do to meditate. Or run. That's a bit meditative for me. Yeah.
Cool. Are we doing 3 in a row, or how are we doing this?
He doesn't have his third.
No. I do have my third.
Yeah, go. Hit it.
What is the best date you've ever been on?
Best date.
That's a good one.
Ooh.
Very good.
Oh, man. I've had some good dates.
Or a
That
magical
was your
date?
worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, well. No.
To the listeners that don't have the video, there was a pinky finger thrown up in the air, and it was kind of awkward.
Soft pinky.
Soft pinky. It's mashing the banana, so to speak. Is that what you call it? Do you know that phrase?
Is that in the Oxford Dictionary?
Mashing
In
the
the Macquarie Dictionary, it says, what does it mean?
to mashing the banana, to have sex with an inerect penis. Get it in there, Macquarie Dictionary. Have you guys ever heard that one before?
No.
Oh,
Well, I
mate,
mashed many bananas. but
I'm
I've
a
never-
masher. I'm a masher from hell. No, not really. I'm not really. Oh, man.
Moving on. What are your questions?
Damn. My questions. So, my questions. So, favorite place you've ever been to? Can be a city, can be a country, can be a small town.
Oh, man. It's really tough because I've been to a lot of places in the world, and there's some just really beautifully amazing places. Look, I'll just speak of the most recent place that I've been. Generally, wherever I go, I find amazing beauty. But just recently, I spent a lot of time in California, up in around Lake Tahoe and Yosemite. I keep saying Yosemite, but it's not Yosemite.
Yeah, you just used to saying Vegemite every day.
So, and then we worked out if you use the same terminology for Vegemite, it's Vegemity.
Losing your virginity. Where'd it go?
So I was pretty. America's never really interested me. But being in California and just seeing the beautiful places there, I've just got this new respect for how beautiful America can be. Yeah.
They have a very diverse country.
Yeah.
I've always been the same. I've never really wanted to travel through America. It's never been at the top of my bucket list. But then Yosemite, Yellowstone, it's probably all Death Valley National Park, the Grand Canyon, all these places. I think it's just such a big country. You need a really good amount of time to check it out. But yeah, that's a great answer. So next question, your dream destination you haven't been to?
Somewhere down South Africa. I've never hit South America. Sorry, I've
that's
never
the best
been.
answer
Yeah, so I've never really travelled on that continent at all. So
it's my favourite part of the world by a country mile.
Okay, so
the best.
that's somewhere I want to hit and have
It's,
a look around.
It's got the perfect mixture of everything. I've been through Europe, a little bit of Southeast Asia, and I've been able to party if I want to party. I've been able to see amazing architecture, meet really cool people, eat some good food. But South America, the one thing that I believe it has over everything else is it has natural wonders everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Jungles, volcanoes, glaciers. When I was in Bolivia when I was sick, in the space of 9 days, we scaled a 5,600 meter snow-capped mountain in the Andes. 3 days later, we were still in Bolivia. We flew to the Amazon, and we spent a few days in the Amazon. And then we went to, a couple of days after that, we went to the Salt Flats.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the Salt Flats? The Salt Flats in Bolivia, it's the world's biggest salt flat, so it's basically white as far as the eye can see. And we were lucky because it's the most surreal place I've ever been. When it rains really hard, the salt doesn't drain. So there's a thin film of water across the salt,
Okay.
which when the sun's out and it's been raining, it looks like a mirror image of the sky.
Wow.
Looks like you're just standing. We took lots of cool photos. Looks like you're standing on the sky.
Yeah.
South America's
Pretty
great.
surreal. Yeah.
It's the best. And last question. If you were stranded on a desert island, you had 3 things that you could bring with you. Apart from your kids.
Yeah.
We don't want to waste 2 of them. You get your kids.
I don't even mind.
You can have your
having
partner.
them.
There you go.
I'll be all right.
You can have your partner if you want him, but maybe we'll leave him, will we? Or? I'm not coming with you.
I will bring him along then.
All right, so you've got you're stranded with your family. What are the 3 things that you'd take? You're stranded on a desert island.
Ooh. Probably nothing.
That's no things.
Nothing.
Nah, it's cool.
Nothing.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So
well-
why nothing though? You can entertain yourself well enough that you don't need
Yeah,
anything.
if I've got my man there, I'm good. No,
What are
that's
the kids
the wrong
going to
answer.
do?
What about like
Kids
a
are
like
twiddling their
Ah,
thumbs
no.
in the back.
a machete and a piece of rope or something like that, so you can tie it up and make some things. And
Make a TV.
make TV, make
I don't
some
know. I just
things.
like being
You
creative
want to
and
make some things?
start from scratch. Like,
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I just,
You don't like stuff.
not too
You don't
much.
like material things. I think when we asked you in the little questionnaire that we sent, and you said I don't know what the quote was, but you said you really value experiences over material possessions or something like that. So, yeah, I think that's a great mindset to have. That's pretty much what you're saying, right? You
Yeah,
just
just
don't need anything to
create
have a good
create it from whatever's around. Yeah.
Cool. That's a good answer. What do you got, Tommy?
Chess or snakes and ladders?
Snakes and ladders.
Nice. Why?
It's more up and down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very real to life, isn't it?
Okay.
Favorite Harry Potter character?
I haven't watched Harry Potter.
You haven't watched Harry Potter? Oh, you're not missing out.
Harry?
Who's your favourite character?
Mine?
Yeah.
Hermione. Still got a massive crush on her.
Yeah.
But that's a really tough question, and I'm not the one answering them, so I'll move on.
Okay.
But if you were to answer?
But if I was to answer, I'd probably say Hermione, appearance-wise, and probably Gilderoy Lockhart from the Chamber of Secrets. He's just an up-and-about man.
What does he do?
He's a massive fake, and he knows this one spell to get rid of all people's memories, and he just takes the credit for all the stuff that these really cool people do. So if I was Gilderoy Lockhart, I would come up to you, Deanna. I would put a spell on you so you forget everything, and then I would claim that I've been all over the place and I'm a really good adventure fitness person. I'm a CrossFitter, and bang, now I'm world famous.
Yep.
So he's just this. He's a dickhead.
What a dirt bag.
He's a shocker.
What a dirt.
Whoa, it's all happening here at the MCG. And for everybody home, I just dropped a glass. Finally, if there were 3 people dead or alive you could invite to dinner, who would they be and why?
I'd love to meet Pink. Yeah.
Pink?
Yeah.
Really?
I'd turn for Pink.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
Get around that. You heard it here first. Why is that? You just think she's a great entertainer? You like her music? I think
Yeah,
I got
she's just-
offered a spot at a concert the other year with my little cousin. I think my mum was going with my auntie and my little cousin. She was like 12. They asked me if I wanted to go, and I genuinely thought about it.
Yep.
Just because she's a good entertainer.
She's just, I don't know, she's just, I guess, a little unique in her, what she puts out there. I went to a concert, and her ability to switch from all sorts, she can just be whoever she wants to be, and I kind of like that versatility. She can look awesome in a pair of cut-off jeans, T-shirt, sitting on strumming a guitar, or she can look equally as awesome hanging from the ceiling, singing and doing acrobatics and stuff. So she's just so versatile, adaptable, and she doesn't really give a shit what anyone really thinks about her. She just gets out and does her stuff. So that's one.
Yep.
Whew.
Great answer.
Thanks. You said dead or alive?
Yes.
But I really respect my nan. She's 100, and I do sit down to dinner with her, and I'd like to keep doing that.
Dead or alive?
Hopefully alive.
Yeah.
She's pretty awesome. She still lives independently.
That's cool.
She plays golf 3 times a week.
Didn't she do an event with you recently in last year, or you did something with her for the first time?
No, she did for her 98th birthday. She went paragliding in Thailand.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wanted to skydive for her 100th, but I think someone's talked her out of that. Yeah, but my nan's, she's pretty cool,
What a
and
boss.
she's been around for like 100 years.
Wow.
Imagine
Yeah.
from
That
her.
freaks me out.
What's she saying?
That freaks
Yeah.
me
She's single?
Yeah, she is.
I'm single.
That's no,
Okay. Damn.
no. But my son's quite unique, and he's asked her, what did you used to play with? And she goes, oh, I remember we had a ball we played with. That was so
That was the thing
simple.
at the time.
Yeah, and she's
Balls.
still got some.
No, I'm not.
It's my
I wasn't
nan.
No, I'm not even talking dirty. You guys are fucked. I was literally, I think it's cool to think of someone who's 100 and everything that they've seen technologically. Anyway,
And
yeah,
someone
let's
else.
move on. Net last person.
I'm kind of
Happy with those.
That's good.
Pink in the nan? Love it.
I'll come.
Yeah.
Just a round. I'm not doing it. What are we doing this? To round off the table. All right. Anyone else got anything? Are we wrapping it up? Or?
Anything you want to plug, Deanna? Mention?
Don't put me on the spot. No.
Yeah, you got any sponsors you want to mention, and also people that might be fans of yours, where they can find you, websites, social media, blogs, anything like that?
Look, I'll love to thank CrossFit Diamond Valley, Mac and the team there, for just nurturing me and looking after me. Whilst as yet I haven't been able to represent them in the CrossFit field as much as I'd like. It's certainly. I'm becoming addicted. All right, becoming a junkie. I've got a lot of people that look after me, and I don't know.
You have sponsors. Right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Say their names.
you've got Innovate.
Innovate shoes. See, I hate saying it because then I forget someone. And
www.innovate.com. something maybe.
Fast Lift, Turbo Superfoods, Moxie Gators. I don't know. I get embarrassed with this bit.
Innovate, Turbo Superfoods, and Moxie Gators. Thanks for being great.
Right, I know, and CrossFit Diamond Valley. I know there's more. Spartan Race. Yep, there's one. And look, I'm on social media, just predominantly Facebook, because I don't have time to follow much else.
Yep.
And I don't have a web page or a blog page.
Cool. Cool. No worries. Well,
cheers.
Thanks very much, Dee.
thanks for coming on
And
the
of
show.
course, Adventure Fit and you guys for having me here.
Thanks. You shouldn't.
No worries.
Sharks.
Alrighty, that's a wrap.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Hey guys, so thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Deanna Blegg. What an amazing woman. If you want any of our show notes, anything that was mentioned in that podcast, then head to www.adventurefittravel.com/podcast. You can also help us out by subscribing to our podcast. If you liked what you listened to, then go on iTunes and hit subscribe. That'll keep you up to date with all our new episodes as they drop. We'll be dropping more episodes over the coming days as we pumping out a few as we've just released our show. Then we'll be going a weekly podcast going forward. Also, if you don't want to miss out on anything on our end, make sure you head to our mailing list. which is www, that's 4 W's, try 3, www.adventurefittravel.com/podcast. You can sign up to our mailing list, so that way you won't miss out on any of our show updates and show notes coming straight to your inbox. And lastly, thanks to our sponsors. Again, these guys got behind us with our Kickstarter campaign, and we can't thank them enough. Probably wouldn't be here without them. So to start off, we'd like to thank Adventure Fit Travel. Wasn't meant to say Adventure Fit Travel. We'd like to thank Atlanta Orchards. Check out their new Kanzi and Green Star apples at your local greengrocer. Ask for Atlanta Orchards. We would also like to thank NDO Sups. NDO Sups for all your supplement needs. Use ADVF radio at checkout for 10% off. Thank you, NDO Sups. And Loxam Solutions. Loxam Solutions, a boutique consulting and business support company focused on business consulting and commercial services. So any of your business needs, guys, head to www.loxamsolutions.com.au. Thanks for listening, and we're out.
Discovery Roger, go for deploy.